Tonight on News 13.
A surprisingly strong storm makes for a dangerous day on area roadways. We'll tell you where the weather goes next.
One man is dead, another behind bars after a shooting here in Hazleton over the weekend. We spoke with the victim's fiance today. We'll tell you what she has to say about the shooting coming up.
What started as a brush fire turned into a full-blown investigation. I'll tell you what happened right here in Jim Thorpe coming up.
This is News 13 Now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to News 13 Now. I'm Kathy Bazinski. Well, it appears we will be having several more weeks of winter, and it arrived with vengeance today. Roads were treacherous, accidents reported everywhere. This was the scene along Interstate 80 westbound in Sugarloaf Township just around noon today. State police are still investigating what really happened, but it appeared that both a tractor trailer and a truck lost control on the slick highway. As you can see, the tractor trailer went off the highway straight into an embankment, and the cab of that rig actually climbed the embankment and got stuck. On the other side of that rig, the truck became sandwiched between the trailer and the embankment. There were reports of some injuries to the trucker, but they didn't appear to be life-threatening. Traffic was shut down westbound for a while, but then resumed at a crawl. PennDOT had already reduced the speed limit to 45 miles per hour when that crash occurred. Once again, state police trying to figure out exactly what happened in that crash on a slick I-80 this afternoon. We'll take a look at more weather-related problems in just a few minutes on News 13 Now. In other news, one man is dead, another behind bars after a shooting in Hazleton early yesterday morning. Today, Christina Papa spoke with the family of the shooting victim, and they say he was an innocent bystander.
He died because he was an innocent bystander.
Naya Wade is heartbroken. Her fiance, 45-year-old Gary Cox, was fatally shot outside of Shaker's Bar in Hazleton early Sunday morning.
To know that he was the most sweetest, kindest, thoughtful person that anyone could ever come across.
She says he was an innocent bystander.
The bullets that hit him, they was not meant for him. They was meant for someone completely different.
When Naya left the club with Cox the night of the shooting, she says it was chaos. She saw a crowd of people, a man holding a gun, and before she knew it,
I see my fiance on the ground with just blood coming out from his head.
Police have charged 26-year-old Terrence Clark with homicide. Reports say 2 state police officers on duty heard the shots and saw a group of people fighting outside the bar. Police saw Clark holding a handgun and firing it towards the crowd. Clark hit 2 people, injuring this man who was flown to Lehigh Valley Hospital for treatment. Clark fled on foot but was later caught by police. News 13 showed Clark's photo to Wade today, but she says he's not the man who shot her fiance.
Yes, I do.
You do? That's the gentleman who's being accused of shooting.
But that's not the gentleman, though.
That's not him.
No, because if you, on Shaker's cameras, if y'all was to look at Shaker's cameras.
Police did check out the surveillance tapes. They say the video shows a man who looked like Clark firing multiple rounds at the crowd.
Attorney Salavantis, I know, stressed yesterday, this incident was not random. This is not a drive-by. This was a specific act of violence by people who knew each other and chose to fight each other.
Chief DeAndrea applauds the work of the state police for their actions.
They went above and beyond. There's a lot of things they could have done that they'd all have been proper for. These 2 individuals decided, we're going to chase this guy and we're going to catch him. And that's exactly what they did.
Clark was denied bail. He is in Luzerne County Prison tonight. Christina Papa, News 13, Hazleton.
A McAdoo man is behind bars after he admitted to stabbing his sister on Saturday night. Police say 27-year-old Ralph Lucetta admitted stabbing his sister several times with a set of brass knuckles that had a knife attached. He's charged with criminal attempted homicide, aggravated assault, simple assault, and tampering with evidence. Investigators say police responded to a 911 call and found Lucetta's 19-year-old sister suffering the stab wounds in her home on South Cleveland Street late Saturday. A neighbor who didn't want to speak on camera tells News 13 she saw the police commotion but didn't know what was going on until she spoke with her other neighbors.
I guess it was around like 10:30. I saw the lights flashing from the ambulance, and then maybe about 15-20 minutes later I saw cops. But no sirens were going off or anything like that, so I didn't think it was anything major, and I don't know, it didn't seem like anything real crazy was happening. Nothing that I really saw. Nobody came to my house. None of the cops or anything were talking to any of the neighbors, so I'm not sure.
The victim, whose name hasn't been released, is in stable condition at Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton. Lucetta couldn't make $100,000 bail, and he is in prison tonight. Investigators are calling it a homicide. Firefighters battling a brush fire over the weekend discovered the body of a Tamaqua woman in a wooded area near Jim Thorpe. As Samantha Galvez tells us, people who live in the quiet area say they'd never expect something like this in their neighborhood.
It was quiet at the top of Flagstaff Road Sunday afternoon. 24 hours previously, this road was closed off with police tape wrapped around the scene where the body of 35-year-old Angela Steigerwald was found.
Kind of shocked. I didn't know, because I don't know any of the details or anything, but yeah, it's terrible.
David Drury rides his bike up this road several times a month, but he never noticed a thing.
It's beautiful up here. A lot of people come up and they get the great view up here and so forth. And cyclists come up and down here all the time, and especially in the summertime. But yeah, it's really a shame. I didn't know anything about it.
Firefighters discovered the body just before 10 a.m. after fighting off a brush fire off of Flagstaff Road that was believed to have been started by a campfire. Community members, campers, and people who frequently visit the top of the mountain could not believe the bad news when they heard it, so they decided to visit this investigation site to see it for themselves.
My wife told me that there was a body found up on the Flagstaff Road, which is shocking because, you know, it's just not something you really see around here a lot, you know.
A relative said the last time Steigerwald was seen was Friday afternoon when she left her job at Kraft Foods near Fogelsville. The victim's car was said to have been found in North Carolina. State police are calling the case a homicide investigation and are asking anyone with information to call state police.
It's just kind of a shock to see, you know, who knows how long they were there, and that's the big thing.
Samantha Galvez, News 13, Jim Thorpe.
Ukrainian churches across Pennsylvania spent their weekend services deep in prayer for peace in the Ukraine.
Start the season of Lent.
The Ukrainian people have been protesting the country's horrible financial situation and its president's decision to leave the European Union and partner with Russia. There's been some violence, and the government has arrested hundreds of prosecutors there. At churches like St. Michael's in Shenandoah, the faithful prayed for a peaceful resolution to the unrest in the Ukraine. Church officials here in the U.S. asked all Ukrainian Catholics in Pennsylvania to say special prayers over the weekend. Many of the parishes are served by priests who were born in the Ukraine and still have family there.
The religious leaders throughout the world are also backing this effort to try to bring about some type of peace. However, for the people in Ukraine, I'm sure it must be very difficult because I still have family over there who are, I'm sure, suffering the many atrocities that are going on right now.
The worst thing I had to worry about today was what the groundhog said and what I'm serving for Super Bowl. And there are people on earth that, you know, are fighting for their lives and their human rights. And like I said, as far as we've come, we're still not there.
And in the Ukraine tomorrow, the parliament will debate whether or not to allow broader amnesty for those who were arrested, as well as restricting the power of its president. Still ahead on News 13 now, we got through today's rough weather. We get a bit of a break tomorrow, then some nasty conditions on the horizon. We'll tell you all about them in News 13 weather. And then
a new bill will help provide some security for pit bulls like Ceci being used in animal fighting. All of that story.
You're watching News 13 now, local and loving it.
Well, even PennDOT isn't immune on a snowy day. Sloppy road conditions played a role in an afternoon accident between an SUV and a PennDOT plow truck. Nobody was injured when a Lincoln Navigator slid into the back end of the stopped snowplow on Route 924 North, right outside the Humboldt Industrial Park. This was the scene at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Fortunately, Hazel Township Fire and State Police were able to get traffic flowing around the car crash as quickly as possible. Well, it's just the beginning of February, and most folks, including me, have had it with this winter, even though Punxsutawney Phil says there's much more to come. Samantha Galvez with more on the prognostication and how people plan to get through the next 6 weeks.
But my shadow I see. It's 6 more weeks of winter. It must be!
It's official. According to the groundhog, winter is here to stay for 6 more weeks.
They just predicted 6 more weeks of winter. You know, what were you hoping for?
6 less weeks of winter.
That seems to be the general consensus. People in Schuylkill County are sick and tired of the snow and the harsh temperatures that come along with it.
So fed up with it. I'm tired of cleaning my car off. I'm tired of the snow. I just want it to be done and over with.
I just lost my keys in the snow and just spent 30 minutes trying to dig it out.
And unfortunately for those who dread the winter season, the groundhog has predicted at least one more cold spell in February before the arrival of spring. And even though it's already felt like an exceptionally long winter season, most people are saying the cold isn't even the worst part.
Shoveling, wiping off your car, trying to get to work.
The shoveling, I imagine, and the traveling. makes it more difficult?
Shoveling, cleaning the cars off, the kids staying home from school, all of it. I'm ready for winter to be over and summer and spring to come on.
Put aside the shoveling, cleaning, and wiping off cars, and you can expect to see some happier faces in the area. But for Thomas Scarpati, owner of Blossoms and Buds Floral Shop, he doesn't mind the extended winter. In fact, he embraces it.
Actually, I love it. It's so great. I like snow, yes, provided it's in Florida someplace. I just take the seasons in stride. It's been a cold winter, but the snow hasn't been really that bad.
Samantha Galvez, News 13, McAdoo.
Time now for News 13 weather.
And in tonight's weather shadow, whoop, there we go. We're local, and it was that kind of day where trucks hauling accident-damaged cars almost spin out themselves. This was the scene along Broad Street well into the afternoon. As you can see, conditions were still pretty awful. Checking the National Weather Service radar, there was plenty of activity earlier today. There you see, moving on out of the region finally, but conditions were really hazardous today. And we get a break tomorrow, but round two coming up Wednesday. Now here's News 13 weather from the National Weather Service for Greater Hazleton for tonight. Snow ending right about now. Now it gets mostly cloudy, then gradually becoming mostly clear. Low going down to 14 degrees. And then for Tuesday, partly sunny, high up to 27. Nighttime is when it gets interesting. A 100% chance of snow during the overnight, changing to snow and sleet around daybreak. Accumulation, they are saying, around 6 inches. Wednesday, overnight snow turns into freezing rain and sleet mixed with some snow right into the mid-afternoon, high up to 32 degrees. It all finally ends, and then we have an overnight low of around 10 degrees. For Thursday, mostly sunny, high near 21, partly cloudy at night with a low around 4 degrees. And for Friday, partly sunny with a high near 23 degrees. Now heading to Schuylkill County for tonight, partly cloudy. It's going to be cold, low down to 14. And then for Tuesday, partly sunny with a high near 31. Periods of rain or freezing rain begin during the evening, then a 90% chance of snow, freezing rain, and sleet, the low getting down to 25 degrees. Then precipitation amounts will be only between 1/4 and 1 inch possible. Then for Wednesday, 70% chance of snow and freezing rain until the afternoon, then scattered snow with a high near 34. Precip, 1/4 half an inch possible. Things clear out, then it gets mostly cloudy at night with the low heading down to 13 degrees. For Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 23 degrees, cold at night, low around 8 degrees. And then Friday, partly sunny with a high near 26. Well, it's called the Farm Bill, and in it, the Congress has included a plan to crack down on animal fighting. Christina Papa explains why Hazleton's police chief believes this step toward animal protection is needed.
Cece's a lovable, playful dog, but every day dogs like her are trained and used in dog fighting rings.
This week, the Senate Appropriations Committee passed a House bill that would make it illegal to possess dog fighting paraphernalia.
Senator John Udicek has been working to move the Animal Fighting Spectator Prohibition Act of 2013 through the House. It's an issue raised by Police Chief Frank D'Andrea.
And this is just another tool. It's already a felony in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to be caught animal fighting. The problem with that is it's tough to catch animal fighting in the act.
This bill makes it illegal to have tools of the trade or paraphernalia that's used to train animals to fight. Some tools and signs of animal abuse are harder to see than others.
However, some of the obvious things would be if a neighbor has a kennel, if a neighbor has 30, 40 dogs, if you always hear the constant yelping.
Dogs like Ceci are the most commonly used in dog fighting, and as you can tell, this little pooch is anything but a fighter.
Right now it seems like the pit bull's the most common, but the thing about all animal fighting is a lot of people don't understand how cruel it is. They see two animals fighting, they figure this is in their nature, and all that these animal fighters are doing is bringing out their natural instinct and making a little money on it. When the truth is, it's never natural for two dogs to be locked into a place and kill each other.
Chief D'Andrea says finding dog and cockfighting rings is a giant step for law enforcement.
This type of violence spills out from the animal ring, the animal pit, to society.
The bill is set to go to the floor of the Senate to be voted on. If it passes, it would give law enforcement just another tool to help protect animals like Cece. Christina Papa, News 13, Hazleton.
And let's check the winning midday lottery numbers. Good luck if you played. The daily 057, the big 4 7143, Quinto 34362, and the treasure hunt 3 4 15 19 20. Hope you won.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's social news. First tonight, happy birthday to Linda DeAndrea. This wish comes with love from Jimmy, Amanda, grandkids Jimmy and Jocelyn, and a kiss from heaven from Ryan. Also tonight, happy birthday to Denise Kozlowski of Freeland, from Trudy, Joe, Frank, Rambo, and friends. And finally, in tonight's Talk of the Town report, Elder Wish is encouraging you to nominate a respected loved one for this year's prize, a unique all-expense-paid vacation for two for the beautiful Woodlock Resort in the beautiful Pocono Mountains. The contest is simply this: an essay entitled Why I Think My Loved Ones Deserve to Win This Trip. You must be 60 or older. Please submit essays to Elder Wish P.O. Box 1298, Cunningham, PA 18219. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Catherine A. Hollis of Freeland. Funeral is Tuesday at 9 a.m. from the McHugh-Wilczek Funeral Home. Friends may call Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. Lorraine Sheehan of Erie. No funeral services are planned. Rose M. Ike of Hometown. Mass is Wednesday at 10 a.m. in the St. Peter and Paul's Church. Friends may call Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Lamar Christ Funeral Home. John Paul McNally, formerly of Hazleton. Arrangements were by the Honacre Funeral Home. Margaret Ann Schwartz of Middletown. Mass is Thursday at 11 a.m. in the Seven Sorrows of the Blessed Virgin Mary Catholic Church. Viewing is Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Matinchek and Daughter Funeral Home. John R. Perhatney. Funeral is Wednesday at 11 a.m. from the Holy Ghost Byzantine Catholic Church. Viewing is from 9 to 11 a.m. Isabel R. Juna, formerly of Drums. Services will be announced by the Crop and Hughes Funeral Home. Helen E. D'Amico of Whitehaven. All services will be held at the convenience of the family from the Belts Petrilli Funeral Home. Chad W. Stauffer, formerly of Nuremberg. The Harmon Funeral Home is assisting the family with the arrangements. Leonard N. Hackenberg of Danville. Funeral is Tuesday at 11 a.m. in the Holy Family Convent. Friends may call Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. Arrangements are under the direction of the Frank J. Bonin Funeral Home. Anthony P. Corrado, formerly of Hazleton. Arrangements will be announced by the Frank J. Bonin Funeral Home. Leo Kashak of Drums. Mass is Wednesday at 10 a.m. in the St. Cyril Methodius Church. Friends may call Wednesday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Arrangements are by the Turnbach Funeral Home. And Thomas R. Sartori, Jr. of Hazleton. Mass is Tuesday at 10 a.m. in the Holy Rosary Church. The Furo Funeral Home is handling the arrangements. Tonight's obituaries have been brought to you by the Smilax Floral Shop located on 15th Street in Hazleton. For delivery to all local funeral homes, call 570-454-0111.
This is News 13 Sports.
It was a beautiful Super Bowl Sunday in the Northeast, and then Monday happened. Here's some postponements in local sports thanks to the weather. Both the Hazleton area and the Crestwood girls basketball teams will play tomorrow thanks to the snow. The Tamaqua boys will host Jim Thorpe tomorrow night. Pottsville's game against Panther Valley has been PPD as well. The game between Marion Catholic and Monoy area has been moved to Tuesday. That's boys basketball. It's turning into a Super Tuesday in Northeast Pennsylvania. The Penn State Hazleton men's and women's basketball games against Penn State Lehigh, they are now set for next Wednesday at High Acres. And finally, Dallas was supposed to swim at Hazleton area tonight. That will now happen on Wednesday, weather permitting. And now let me change the subject. I'll never forget when I learned how to swim underwater. It was a beautiful Florida day and my Uncle Eddie tossed me in the pool and I swam for my life. Tamaqua area's Joanne Buckus is a decorated swimmer and she has a much, much better story than mine.
Sometimes there's a moment in life that hits you like a lightning bolt. That might be the moment when you realize you have a great idea or that you are very gifted at something. Lightning and swimming don't mix. For all of her success, Tamaqua area senior Joanne Buckus has never had one of those moments regarding swimming. Instead, she's had a series of moments that are continuing to progress.
It was more of a progression of more of me falling in love with the sport than me getting good at the sport. And I think because I fell in love with it through the years, and it was just a gradual thing. As I got faster, I loved it more, and the more I loved it, the faster I got. So it's just like this continuous cycle, and it's continued to today. And I love it, it's a part of me, and it's definitely made me who I am.
Buckus is a motivated senior who wants to study chemistry in college with plans of going pre-med. She also wants to swim at the collegiate level, but she says her focus will be on her studies. She wants to be a physician one day. Right now, she's one of the leaders on a championship Tamaqua area swimming team. She holds 2 school records in the 100 freestyle and the 100 butterfly. She was the first female in her area to score 1,000 points as a junior. She's qualified for states in 2 events every year of her high school career so far. She still wants more.
I really try to keep myself grounded and level-headed when it comes to that stuff, because winning isn't everything, and I know that's a really bad cliche, but it's not. It's just trying your best and getting the results from that makes winning so sweet. As far as pressure goes, it's just that I really don't feel much pressure, because it's kind of like an internal drive that I have, that once I reach a goal, I set another one and I go for it. It's not, I enjoy it while it happens, but it never stops. I just keep going.
She first stepped in this pool when she was 7 years old.
I vaguely remember it. There were no lane lines in it at all. Of course, it was like the little swim lessons kind of thing that we had through, I think, through Tamaqua YMCA. And all I remember is doing breaststroke across here when I was younger. One of the instructors said, "Oh, you have a pretty good breaststroke. You know, you're really good at that." And I was like, "Well, thanks." And it's actually kind of ironic, because now I'm a breaststroker.
One of her instructors back then was Eric Leck, who coached the Tamaqua area high school team for a period of time. Leck was Buckus's head coach for her freshman year, and while he has moved on, he left a lasting mark on the program and Buckus.
My freshman year, he said, when he was watching my breaststroke, he's like, "You can get that breaststroke record." And I was like, "Oh, you think?" He's like, "Yeah, you can do that." And I hadn't done it, I didn't do it my freshman year. I didn't do it, until this year. But as soon as I broke that record, the first thing I thought of was Coach Leck and his words to me. And just his constant encouragement, saying to me, don't give up. And I never did. I never will.
So for Buckus, the moment that has defined her life so far came less like lightning and is more like a wave that she is still riding. And given her talent in the pool, that seems more appropriate.
From the pool to the ice we go. The Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins dropped 2 games over the weekend, one to Norfolk and the other to Rochester. Norfolk is now tied in points with the Penguins for 2nd place in the AHL's East Division, but there is good news for Pens fans. Wilkes-Barre-Scranton's Eric Hartzell is the CCM AHL Goaltender of the Month for January. Hartzell put up a 5-2-0 record last month, and he had a .994 save percentage. He leads the AHL in goals against average with a 1.85 GAA. Hartzell also has 3 shutouts this year, and you are looking at his latest. This was against Syracuse last week. The last NEPA Penguin to capture this honor was Brad Thiessen. The Penguins are at home this Friday against Portland. That's sports for tonight. Everyone stay safe on the roads, and tomorrow on News 13, we'll get you ready for Sochi. Until then, take it easy.